Coping with COVID is brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdhec.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. Also, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Center. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their life. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Center at agapects.com. And Columbia Housing Authority. The agency is looking for stories from former residents of Allen Benedict Court to retain some of the property's rich history. In its 80-year life, Allen Benedict Court has been home to some of the country's elite, including a Grammy Award-winning performer, corporate executives, national television celebrities, a host of doctors, lawyers, and NBA greats. So share your pictures, mementos, and memories at chcares@chasc.org. Coping with COVID, brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Columbia Housing Authority, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connection.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Fight the spread and take a stand against coronavirus. Wear a mask in public. Stay at least 6 feet apart from others. And get tested. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhec.gov/COVID-19.
Happy Thursday to you. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by SCDHEC, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Palmetto Media Connections, and Agape Counseling and Training Center. If you are having some challenges coping with COVID, please contact the folks at Agape Counseling and Training Center. Well, today we continue our coverage of election 2020 here in Richland County. There is a Richland School District 1 school board race, and you have two votes, and we're going to speak with 2 of the 6 candidates today. Shea Harley is new to the political foray, and he's going to join us, and then we're going to be joined by Raquel Richardson Thomas. We'll talk to both of them coming up next. Shea, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Tre.
Absolutely. We're going to talk to them coming up next on Coping with COVID. But first, your COVID community updates. Well, the president and former VP go at it again tonight during the second debate. The 90-minute face-to-face matchup will this time feature a muted mic during the 2-minute answer to each candidate's first question on each topic. Now, mics will remain on during the open discussion. The debate will be held in Nashville tonight at 9 o'clock on all major networks. The University of South Carolina has received $5.3 million to expand their rapid saliva COVID testing to other South Carolina colleges and universities. The initiative, funded by the CARES Act and the COVID-19 Response Reserve Fund, will reduce testing turnaround time and expand and increase testing capability. MUSC, Clemson, and DHEC will be part of the work with USC. And Richland County Library is doing several free curbside mask giveaways. Stop by the Edgewood, Main, and Wheatley Street locations Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. while supplies last. And they're also doing free mask giveaways at the Ballantyne location. SCDHEC has your most up-to-date listings of times, dates, and locations for COVID testing in and around South Carolina. Visit scdhec.gov for more information. And of course, we've got the information scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout the show. You can also get information on the DHEC Care Line, where you can find information on testing and transportation to get a test. Also, if you live in Richland and Clarendon counties and can't get to a COVID test, they are doing in-person COVID screenings for those folks who are immobile. It's time to get your flu shot, and it's even more important to get it now during COVID. And Prisma Health and DHEC have several locations you can get your flu shot for free. Check the screen for more information, and that information will also be scrolling throughout the show. Now, maskupcolumbiasc.com is your place to go if you want to win some free prizes from the City of Columbia. Take a picture of yourself in a mask, post the picture, get your family and friends to like and share, and you could be a winner from the City of Columbia. It's maskupcolumbiasc.com. If you are having some problems paying your rent or your mortgage, the South Carolina Bar Association and SC Legal Services have collaborated to offer a free toll-free number and website for rental and mortgage help. Listen, if you need it, give them a call. And the City of Columbia is also offering a 6-month payment plan for water bills for those folks who need it. They also have payment assistance. You can get your bill paid up to 75%. The Richland County Election Commission is still looking for more poll workers for the November election. That position is paid, and early voting has started, as you know. So check out the various satellite offices throughout the state where you can vote during the week, regardless of where you usually vote. You can see those locations posted on the screen. We'll keep that location up and to let you know that if you have requested a mail-in ballot, you can drop it off at any voting location. You shouldn't have to wait in line. Just walk up and drop it off. Also, check to see if there's a drop box. Canvassers are also needed from the Richland County Democratic Party. You need to be at least 18 years old. You need to have a phone, and you need to contact the folks at the Richland County Democratic Party. You can see that information also scrolling right there. Well, actually, it's not scrolling. It's right there on the screen. And the South Carolina Department of Employment and Workforce is still registering for free if you want to get some certifications or some classes. Now, these include health, data science, arts and humanities. Courses are often in English and Spanish, and it's open until October 31st. Visit scdo.gov for more information. And then Rashonda Pratt was on our show several weeks ago, and she gave some great information about virtual learning. If you need more information about her YouTube channel, please check out Rashonda Pratt for free information. It's all dedicated to helping you and your students get through this virtual learning situation. Finally, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have several resources available for you. So please check the screen for the numbers and the email addresses and the organizations that are in and around Richland County and also South Carolina that can help you if you need the help. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we want you to get the help you need. So please, if it's you or it's someone you know, please reach out. Coping with COVID is streaming live on the Tailor Made production page on Facebook. Would you please go over there for me and hit like and share? And not only will you be able to watch Coping with COVID Monday through Saturday at 2 p.m., you can get all of your COVID-related updates. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button. It's Coping with COVID, airing live every single day, Monday through Saturday on YouTube. Well, we are helping you get through election 2020. That's right. We are giving you content, information, and news to help you get you involved and get you updated and get you educated. And today we're focusing on the Richland School District 1 race. There are 6 candidates. Today, we're talking to 2. Shea Harley is a graduate of Lower Richland High School, and he says he welcomes the opportunity to serve the learning community that nurtured and fostered him throughout the years. The full-time single parent of autistic twins attended R1 schools. He's an accomplished small business owner, local media personality, and by trade, an information technology specialist. Now, over the years, Shea has dedicated much of his time to working with many different community groups and prides himself as a grassroots activist for issues ranging from public school advocacy to bringing attention to the clean drinking water crisis in towns like Denmark, South Carolina. Shea, thank you so much for joining us today on Coping with COVID. I appreciate you, sir.
Ooh, thank you. Was that really me that all that came from? I had to listen to it. I was like, you must be talking about somebody else. But no, Tre, thank you. I know we go way back, and I'm grateful to have worked with you in the past, and yes. I'm grateful to be here today.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your candidacy. This is your first foray into politics. Why did you decide to run from Richland School District 1 School Board?
And I'm glad that I'm doing this interview because I just have just a little bit of time to explain that. So, doing my work with House of Harley Radio and H2O Media and the many different community events that I've been a part of and the many families that I have talked to and helped and have heard their stories, it kind of pushed me to get into this race. And not only that, also raising my children with them being autistic and the many ups and downs that I've been through with the school district, with getting them the education that they need and deserve. And I've also helped other families that have special needs children. And everything just kind of added up to me being here today, to where just being a witness of some of the things that happen and me going through some of the things as well, even with my children being bullied, and realizing that the process isn't as clean and as forward as it should be. And so with that being said, with everything that I've seen and witnessed and heard with my own eyes and seen for myself, I decided to put my hat in the ring because I want to be a part of the solutions. And I feel like, especially during this time in COVID, that I have the qualifications and that I'm the right one that's for the job.
What concerns you about the current way the school board is being handled?
I can pull out a list, but I know you don't have a lot of time, so I'll get down to the point. The school district, there's a lot of good with the school district. If you heard, like, you see something that there's a lot of good, but then the bad is really bad. and so we have to work on those issues that are bad. Right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and as far as our teachers, because I advocate for teachers, because I'm actually doing a documentary on SC for Ed and what teachers go through. The teachers, they're not getting paid enough, and they feel as though they're not getting the right communication. Like, even as of today, teachers don't know what it is they should be doing in their classrooms today. And so they don't have the trust. They're underpaid, undervalued. And when you have a employee saying those words about their job, there's something wrong with that. And if your employees aren't happy, how are you going to teach properly? And so also, as far as like our issues with bullying, we need to fix that issue. A young girl was sexually assaulted on a bus with being 2 seats behind the bus driver. And it happened not once, but multiple times. How did that happen? These are the kinds of things that, to me, with me having military experience and being in higher portions of the IT management area, this is a reflection on leadership. If leadership is failing, then it's just going to be trickled down. It's going to be an avalanche, and everything else is going to fail. We have a lot of greatness in the district, but some of our bad things are not well. Our graduation rates they improve a little bit, then go down. And so we have to work on those things to get those things fixed. I could keep going, but I'll point those issues out right there.
Right. So do you think there is something else that is not represented? Do you think there's a demographic or issue or something that's not represented or being advocated for that you would like to see?
Well, definitely, I'm a preface this by saying that we in our communities, in our homes, we need to do a better job in our homes, because you talk about the school to prison pipeline. There's the other ingredient that we're missing. It's the home to school to prison pipeline. So we got to get things straight in our homes. And being raised up, I'm the youngest of 3 kids. My brother's a colonel at the Pentagon. My brother's a director of the FDA in Washington, D.C. I'm just some IT guy, media personality in Columbia, South Carolina. And my household was raised on, you must get an education. So at home, I feel as though the school district needs to reach out at home more and reach out to the homes more to communicate with those families that may be having issues, because right now we have kids that are in homes where they don't feel safe. And so we have to figure out why that is. We need to get involved with that, because right now I feel as though the school district doesn't get involved with that, and we should. And I feel as though somewhere along, I remember, and Trey, you might remember, if you didn't do your work in school or something you weren't doing right, the teacher would come and knock at your door and say, hey, here's your son's homework. Here's your daughter's homework. We have to get back to that. And that's not what's being done.
Right. And that really goes back to Shea, making sure, and you made this point, that our teachers feel more appreciated and are paid more because, if they don't feel vested, if they don't feel appreciated, and not that they're doing it for that. I mean, I know that teachers are doing it because of the love of the students, but I love your idea. I love your suggestion, but that also means that teachers have to do more than they're already doing, which they're already doing a whole lot, So.
And you're right, they have to do more, and they should be getting compensated for more because and I totally agree with you. They're not being compensated for the work that they do because I've been to many IEP meetings and I've been to issues that dealt with the health and welfare of my children. And one of the teachers during the meeting said, "I'm not a psychologist. I can't. I don't know these things." And so, and that is the thing. It's like with these issues that happen in our classrooms, in our schools, we have to figure this out. Do we need more counselors, social workers? Do we need to get the teachers more training? And you're right. They have to. They're already doing more work because a lot of times in their classrooms, they're spending more time disciplining than teaching in the class. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah. We're talking to Shea Harley. He is a candidate for Richland School District 1. We are focusing on election 2020 here on Coping with COVID, and we've been spotlighting many of the candidates. And today we're giving you an opportunity to hear from 2 of the 6 candidates for Richland School District 1. Now, Shea, do you think students should be involved on the school board?
I'm glad you asked me this question. I said yes. Yes. I feel as though, especially with some of the stuff that's happened, have you seen some of the meetings? That's all I got to say. And so I honestly feel as though, and it might be crazy to suggest this, I think they should have some of these board meetings within the schools so the students can see what's going on, because I think they need to know. To be a school board member, to run for a school board seat, you only have to be, I believe it's 18 or 19 years old, but you don't have to be that old. You don't have to have a whole bunch of qualifications. You don't have to be an educator. You don't have to have a doctorate degree or a bachelor's degree. All you have to be is 18, 19 years old. That's it. And so, and there's more, but that's the basics. And so, yes, wholeheartedly, yes, because the students need to know. The students need to have a say in what happens in their education. And you know what all this craziness going on, Trey, is that we're all this fighting and scraping and scratching and clawing. You open up, I like to look at the forest and not just one tree. After all of this that's going on with flyers being sent out with only 2 school board members on the flyer, not everybody else, and arguing going on in the school board and stuff of that nature, we're doing all of this. And you open up our stats, and we're still in the South Carolina is still in the bottom 10 of all the school education schools in the United States. That's ridiculous, and we have to do whatever it takes to improve our school systems.
Yeah. What about the community? Do you think the community should be involved in some way on the school board?
Yes. And that option is there. All we have to do is go to the meetings and be abreast of it.
What about community involvement in the schools? What do you think about that? Is that something you don't like?
I love it, and it needs to happen more. Like, again, those opportunities are there, and I feel as though, and I don't want to parent shame or anything like that, but I know us as parents, because like me right now, I'm unemployed, so I'm running my business full time. And this time of COVID, it's kind of hard because it's media and it's entertainment. So it's kind of hard for parents. They got to keep a roof over their head. They have to work. So it's hard for them to go to these PTO meetings, the SIC School Improvement Council meeting. It's hard. It's tough. But us as parents, if we can find time for other things, we need to find time for education, because the most, and when I did this documentary with SC for Ed, outside of myself, there's maybe one or two parents there. And I felt a little disappointed about it because it was on a Saturday. And us as parents in the community, we need to advocate for these teachers. The
Right.
teachers doing it by themselves is not enough. It's almost like if you have an issue, if you go on that issue by yourself, nobody's going to hear you. But if you come with a whole team of people behind you, they have no choice but to change.
Right.
And yes, the community needs to be involved.
Yeah. Sierra says that she feels like District 2 is one of the most underfunded school districts or District 1 is one of the most underfunded school districts in Richland County. Thank you for your comment, Sierra. Do you have a comment?
It's not that it's underfunded. It's not that it's underfunded. It's that the monies aren't going to where it needs to be.
And where do you think, where is it going and where should it go? Where's the money going?
I can say for one, there's a Richland School District. I think it's like a Hall of Fame ball, and $20,000 was spent on that. You can start there. That you can also start at the administrative jobs on the administrative building level, where there's 255, 240, 255 administrative jobs. For what and for why? What are they doing? Right. And so those are the things, because I myself as a parent have been affected by this, because when my children were having a hard time at going to physical school, I requested a shadow to follow my children around. It was just that bad because they were getting zeros in class. And so I requested the shadow, and I was told instantly that we don't have the money for that. And so we had to do all of this to justify you getting the shadow. Well, how long did it take for you to justify spending $20,000 on a school ball? I'm pretty sure it didn't take that long. And by the way, for that school ball, if you do it that year, I can DJ it because I DJ and I'll do it for free. So yeah, there you go.
I want to thank Robert Lewis for joining us, and everyone else who's joining us on Coping with COVID. We're talking to Shea Harley. He is a candidate for Richland School District 1. Please continue to post and share this message out so we can get it to the masses. We've got a couple of more minutes, Shea, and I really want to ask you a couple of more things. You mentioned your children, and they are special needs. Is there something in Richland 1 that you think needs to be changed or implemented for special needs children?
You know, me having a military background and doing the IT background and doing what I'm doing, I always feel like there's always a grounding where you start from. They already have things in place that's being done for special needs children and IEPs. But the biggest problem here is that when IEPs are done, they're most likely not being followed. Again, because you mentioned teachers feel like they're already doing a lot of work. So now you got this IEP that's about this thick, where the teacher has to go through it and see what it is that they need to do as a teacher. A lot of times those IEPs are not being followed. And that's not just from me, but that's just from other parents as well. They need to follow the IEP. Also, teachers need to be more aware. There needs to be more training and awareness of children with special needs. What things upset them? What makes them happy? What can you say? There's different things that you can get them to do and say that can help out these children that have special needs. And that for me as a parent and other parents that I've talked to, that's the biggest thing, is that they're not being followed. And we need to make sure that that's being done.
Now, if you win the election, Shea, you will likely be involved in making decisions about COVID and the reopening of schools. What's your position on that?
I thank you again for that question. I'm loving these questions. And we talked about this earlier. You had interviewed me like earlier during the pandemic about this. And so as far as like schools and pandemic, I do understand that there's some children that need to be in the classroom. We have to figure out the best way to have our kids, because Richland 1 is supposed to start a hybrid schooling next week. Right, in the next couple of weeks, week or so. And so with that being said,
Obviously, your kids are not going back because you don't even know where it is.
I'm gonna shake my whole body. No,
Right.
my kids are not going.
Right.
As of right now, there's still teachers doing this, the shrug emoji.
Right.
They don't know, and that's not good. They've been doing the shrug emoji ever since March. That's not good. That is a reflection. That is a reflection on leadership. And what I would recommend is that they get down to the nitty gritty, because there's still questions about if a student gets COVID, do you quarantine the entire class or do you just quarantine that student? What happens? Because when you quarantine the student, well, guess who else got to be quarantined? The family at home.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the rules? What are the parameters when we're bringing kids back to school?
Right.
Masks how are masks going to be handled? Because kids are going to take that mask off and lay it down. They're going to lose it. Then what? They might pick up the wrong mask and put it on and infect themselves. Who's going to clean the classrooms, the school buses? How frequently? Those are things that parents that have questions that have not been answered, and that the reason why for me and my kids are staying here at my house.
Right. And so are you saying that if you win in a couple of weeks, what will you say that you don't think? Are you saying you are going to say your position will be, we need to talk about this more before we bring all the kids back into school?
We're not ready, Trey.
Right. Okay.
We're not ready, and we need to rely on the health professionals and infectious disease control professionals and take the advice from them. And we need to do it. Right. And then you got the issue of funding and money. Our governor was trying to give millions of dollars to private schools. And from what I understand, that was thrown out. Mm-hmm. And so, but still yet, that money needs to be spent on the safety of our students and our teachers. And I will recommend that we rely on those specialists and we rely on our government to come up with a plan so that it could trickle down into our schools, having dividers on the desk, having enough disinfectant sprays or wipes or whatever, steaming machines to where you don't have to physically touch anything. We have to make sure daily and after class cleaning of the desks, because it makes no sense for kids to go from class to class and the desk has been clean and the kid has been coughing corona on the desk for an hour.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I recommend.
Yeah. I want to thank Lauren for his question. Lauren, we'll ask the next interview because we've got to wrap up. It's we need to get to our next interview. But Shea, final thoughts quickly.
So again, as I stated before, I'm an IT specialist, and during this pandemic, I feel like I'm perfect for this time because we also need to improve our technical infrastructure because it's not working. Hotspots aren't working. We need more broadband for the kids that are at home. We need to figure that out, partnering with our legislator. I am prepared and I'm ready to put in the work. I've been out in the community. Y'all know me as the work that I've done thus far. And you guys know that I have the heart, fire, integrity to work for this school district in our community to get the job done and educate our students and not only improve this district, but improve our state's education.
All right. That's Shea Harley. He is a candidate for Richland School District 1. Shea, thank you so much for joining us on Coping with COVID. You have 2 votes for R1 and the election is November 3rd. Of course, early voting is going on now throughout South Carolina. Several satellite locations are open for you to vote. And coming up next, we're going to talk to another candidate for
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you, Shea, so much. Raquel Thomas is coming up next on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor.
Coping with COVID is brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. Also, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Center. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their life. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Center at agapects.com. And Columbia Housing Authority. The agency is looking for stories from former residents of Allen Benedict Court to retain some of the property's rich history. In its 80-year life, Allen Benedict Court has been home to some of the country's elite, including a Grammy Award-winning performer, corporate executives, national television celebrities, a host of doctors, lawyers, and NBA greats. So share your pictures, mementos, and memories at chcares@chasc.org. Coping with COVID, brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Columbia Housing Authority, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connection.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Palmetto Media Connections wants to connect with you. Find and like us on Facebook and a chance to win dinner for a family of 10 for the Thanksgiving holidays. Provided by licensed caterer Deacon Eddie Green of Catering and Beyond, 201 Columbia Mall Boulevard, 803-567-3986. Connect with us for a chance to win dinner for a family of 10. Sponsored by Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. If you need some help, if you know someone that needs some help, there are resources and information on the screen. Please take advantage of that information. You're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor, and we're spotlighting as many of the candidates that we can and that are available to keep you updated and informed with content about voting, the various local, state, and national races, and more. Today, we're talking to 2 of the 6 Richland School District school board candidates. And Raquel Thomas joins us next. Raquel is a serial entrepreneur turned community builder. She owned 5 successful businesses before her 30th birthday and launched Dream Catchers, a nonprofit that focuses on nurturing and educating young people who dare to dream. The product of a broken childhood, the former high school athlete turned collegiate athletic scholar, lettered in 4 sports at Dreher High School and graduated from Virginia State University with a BA in business marketing and earned a master's from the University of Maryland. Raquel has dedicated her life to enriching, empowering, and equipping women and children to live their best lives. The author of 6 books has been recognized by the National Association of Professional Women as the VIP Woman of the Year. She was recognized by South Carolina Black Pages as a top 20 under 40 young professional and served as a director of Emerge SC, the Keenan High School Advisory Board, and she's a member of the Department of Juvenile Justice. Hey there, Raquel. Thank you so much for joining us today on Coping with COVID. We appreciate you. You're on mute. You're on mute.
I thought I took it off already. Thank you, Trey. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask you, Raquel, the same questions that I asked Shea pretty much. This is your first foray into politics also. Why did you decide to run?
You know what? I've been on the ground doing the work with kids in our community. And you know, because you've been to several of our events. So it just seemed like the right time now to run for school board, to add to what's already happening on the board and to help them get better. We have room for improvement, and I think everyone that's currently on the board can agree with that and want to be a part of that improvement so that we can help our students, how we educate our students, determine how this country will run years from now.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that there is room for improvements. What does concern you about the way the current school board is being handled?
Well, the biggest thing right now is a lot of the attention has been taken away from our students because the adults are arguing and going back and forth. So right now, there's not a lot of teamwork. And when you look at the school board meeting, it's sad. A lot of the days that we're tuned in, but also the focus has to be around academic achievement and improvement for our students. We only have 2 high schools over the state standard here in District 1. So I think we have to make sure that we focus on our kids being ready for college and career ready. All of them will not go to college. They will not all go into the military, but we have to make sure that they are career ready. Now, also, I'd like to see more trades in our schools. We have Hayward Career Center, which is great, but I think we need more trades in our actual schools to help our students that will not go to college.
Do you think there's something in particular that's not represented either on the school board or in Richland 1 schools?
I think that's a loaded question. I'm sure there are many things. I don't want to beat the board up, right? We obviously have room for improvement, which is why I'm running. I think we need new voices. It's a new time and we need new voices. So I'm running so that we can ensure that, one, budget dollars are being spent in a way that we can measure the outcome. And if we can't measure the outcome of how our budget dollars are being spent on the board, then we're not making the best decisions with the budget dollars. So I'm really focused on having a return on investment when we spend dollars for our budget. And that return on investment has to be wrapped around our students and their academic improvement and success.
Yeah. How do you think students should be involved on the school board? And if so, how?
Well, you know what? I think we have to add our students because just like our teachers, our students and our teachers are on the front line every single day, and they are an intricate part of the results of what's happening, right? So I think they should be a part of the meeting. It wouldn't be a bad idea, and I will propose this, for us to once a month meet with students at our schools and allow them to communicate with us so we can hear their voices, but hear their voices accurately. All of our schools have presidents, for SGA. It wouldn't be a bad idea once a month for our board to allow them to talk to us and say, hey, this is what we need. This is what we're missing. This is what we love. But more importantly, this is what we need, and we need your help here. If we hear it directly from them, it makes our job a lot easier as well. So yes, I think our kids should be involved.
Do you think that they should have a place permanently on the school board, like a rotating position for a student or students?
Well, I'll tell you right now, the shape that the board is in right now is not appropriate. Mm-hmm. It's simply not appropriate for a child to be on the board that we currently have with the back and forth and the lack of teamwork. So I wouldn't want right now a student on that board with how we're conducting ourselves as adults. What we do is a direct reflection of what we're teaching them to do. Mm-hmm. So we're bullies as adults. It's very difficult for us to say to our students not to be bullied. So right now it's not appropriate.
We're talking to Raquel Richardson Thomas. She is a candidate for Richland School District 1 School Board. And Raquel, how should community be involved?
community is so important. We would be crazy to not utilize all the tools and special people we have in our community. They will help us get to where we want to be. I'm a community advocate. I'm a community builder. So I know for sure the youth programs that I hold help children. Every summer that we have summer camp, it makes a difference with students in Richland 1. So I think it's imperative that we get our community more involved, that we allow our parents to come in the schools and help us, that we allow our community advocates and leaders to step in and help us. And a lot of times we don't have to pay for this help. They're here because they care about what happens in Richland 1. So we have to bridge the gap between board and community. That'd be one of the first objectives for me, to make sure that we bridge that gap and let our community know that we need them and our students need them. And together we're much stronger.
You also have a child that I don't know if you would say that Roman is special needs, but he's certainly, he's a savant. He is highly intelligent, highly gifted, way beyond his years. And do you think that there is something that needs to change or happen within the school district to meet his special needs?
Well, Trey, I honestly haven't talked about Roman a lot. I've been attacked a lot when it comes to Roman and him not being in Richland 1. And I said once that, Roman's not in Richland 1 because right now, Richland 1 can't fit the needs of my son. And I would want nothing more. I would want nothing more for my son to be a Blue Devil like me. I'm a proud product of Richland 1, and Richland 1 did amazing things for me. And again, I don't talk about Roman a lot, but Roman is autistic. Right? Roman tests on the spectrum of Asperger's, and he also came into kindergarten speaking and writing in Mandarin already. So he's not in the early stages of it. He already speaks and writes Mandarin. We do have one school that is considered emergent, but it's not fully emergent. I think they have Mandarin to the second or third grade, and then every grade it progresses, which I think is phenomenal. And I think it's a step in the right direction. But right now, it would be a disservice to my son to put him in a program that's not where he is. And again, he's in a classroom where there's no English spoken at all. He's in a classroom where he can only write in Chinese. Wow. So right now, from an academic standpoint, they really help. He's skipped a few grades as well. So, as a parent, we have to advocate for our children as well. As a parent, we have to make sure we're providing the very best we can for our students. And it's not just one parent, by the way, it's two of us. So we both advocate for him. So I don't make all the decisions alone for Roman, but he is very special and he is very unique. But I would want nothing more than for my son to be in Richland 1 and graduate as a Blue Devil.
Yeah. Now, R2 has an initiative to include more males of color into their school system. Is that important to you? And would you be interested in implementing that in Richland 1?
Well, you know what? I would be interested in bringing more males, period, into academia. We don't have a lot of male teachers despite race. Right. It doesn't matter if they're Black, white, Asian. We don't have a lot of male educators. So I love what Richland 2 is doing. And I think it would be super helpful for us to do the same thing because it is important for young Black boys to see people that look like them. Mm-hmm. We know that they're struggling the most, that literacy is among the worst with Black boys. So it would be a great opportunity for us to show them that you too can be a teacher, that you too can speak and articulate yourself. But I would love to see males, period, more males in the school system, period, despite color, because little boys need to see that there are male educators and how important the male educator is to our country, not just Richland 1, not just Richland 2, but to our entire country.
Yeah. If you win, and you would likely be involved in making decisions about COVID and the reopening of schools, what's your opinion, Raquel?
Well, this is, we have schools throughout the state that are open. And the cases haven't been crazy. They've been able to figure out a way to bring their students back to school safe. The key word is safe. Mm-hmm. we cannot do it without our kids being safe. And right now we're not ready. We don't have enough janitorial staff to even clean our schools in Richland 1. We don't have enough teachers. We had a teacher shortage before COVID. And now we have teachers that are afraid to come back because they don't know that they're going to be safe. They have families too that they have to go home to. So right now we have to make sure it's safe. And right now I don't think we're safe, but our students need to be back in school full time. We have students that are facing things that are unimaginable, and school is a safe haven for many of our students. And we don't take into account sometimes the child that's being abused at home, the child that's not eating enough at home, the child that doesn't have running water and electricity, as I did not when I was in school. So we have a lot of variables that we have to consider. So it's our job to work as hard as possible to get our kids back in school 5 days a week and do it safely and do whatever it takes to get them back into school safely. We have a military base that's not far that has done a fantastic job of keeping the military base safe. Maybe we can have them come in and help us create our protocol, help us create our emergency preparedness plan. But we have to do it, and we have to do it fast. Kids need to be in school.
Yeah, I want to ask you something I didn't ask Shea because this doesn't pertain to him, but you mentioned the fact that you also were a victim of abuse when you were growing up. And I know that's something that you have been attacked about during this candidacy. Do you want to say something about that, Rock?
I've received several emails of attack during this time, and I've made a statement about it. And the statement was fairly general, but the statement was, I will not be bullied. You're wasting your time by sending me these emails because it's not going to change the tone of my race. But I'm not ashamed. Maybe I was as a child, right? But as an adult, I understand the student of Richland 1 because I am the student of Richland 1. I understand what a lot of our students are faced with and challenged with every day. And my situation with being in foster care, there's some kids that spend a lifetime in foster care, their entire childhood in foster care. For me, it wasn't my entire childhood, but I understand just being in the system, how mentally and emotionally exhausting that is for a child. So for me, I use it as a tool. It made me a better woman. I understand life just a little bit more from a different person's perspective. Mm-hmm. So why I didn't like it, and it stung a little bit, the truth of the matter is I'm not ashamed of it. And we have in Richland 1 multiple foster homes. My best friend while in high school attended Epworth. So I understand fully what it's like to be in the system and to have a best friend in that system. So instead of being mad and bent out of shape, I just turned it around and said, you know what, I'm going to use this to help our students that have gone through some of what I've gone through as a child, and just use it as fuel to help other students.
We're living in what I call a pandemic within a pandemic, COVID and racism. Where do you think race policing, that conversation, fits in the school discussion with students? Or do you think it does?
It's tough. I mean, we can't ignore it because it's affecting our students every day. Mm-hmm. So we can't ignore it. We've already struggled with catering to the entire student, the whole student. We can't just look at academics. We can't just look at sports, but there's an emotional part of the student that we very often look over. So, Trey, honestly, we have to perhaps take our teachers and provide them training so that they can deal with this, because it's not going away, and it's not going away anytime soon. Mm-hmm. And we can't avoid it because it's affecting some of our students. It's affecting how they learn. It's affecting them paying attention in class. Some of them are fearful of their life because something has happened to their uncle or their dad or their brother. So they come to school with this fear.
Or them.
It's not, yeah. So it's not fair for us to act like it's not here. We have to deal with it because it has become an issue with our students, and we want to make sure that we are helping the whole student and not just a part of them, because they're whole individuals.
Yeah. One last question, and then I want to get your final thoughts. I know that you are partnering with the folks with the Juneteenth Festival to do a special promotion at your restaurant. Tell us about this. You're rewarding voters with a meal.
So, the owner of Juneteenth called me up and said, hey, I would love to sponsor free meals for those individuals that have voted. I love what you're doing out there. And I said, you know what, it's a great idea. So right now, we are giving free meals away to anyone who has their I voted sticker. And you don't have to vote for me, by the way.
Right.
You don't have to vote for me. But it's just to say thank you for taking this thing so seriously. And we see you and we appreciate you. Every vote counts. Your vote matters. Your voice matters. And we want you to utilize your voice. So it's simply a community effort and a thank you to those who have taken it seriously to get out and vote early, because it's so very important. And how we vote in this election will determine for the next 4 years education for our students. And
Right.
again, and I've said this earlier in the show, how we educate our students will determine how this country runs years from now. And it's important for us to take this seriously, because education to me is single-handedly the most important thing on the ballot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Final thoughts, Raquel?
It's been a crazy morning. There was a mailer that went out, and it had me and a few other candidates, and people were outraged. I didn't know about the mailer. I was unaware about the mailer. I saw it late last night.
Do you have a copy of it with you there? Because I don't have it.
You know what? It's on social media.
Okay.
I can pull it down from somebody's page and send it over to you.
Okay.
But I would say I wasn't aware of the mailer. I didn't know the mailer was coming out. I didn't, give my permission. I didn't know. But don't be distracted, because there are people out here trying to distract you from voting and educating yourself. Align yourself with the candidates that align with your views and your thoughts. I challenge you to educate yourself and not be distracted by what's going on social media and people trying to deter you from voting. I've heard many people from 2 different camps say only vote for one candidate for school board. Use your voice. Use both of your votes, because it's important. You have 2 votes for the at-large seat. Use both of those votes. I'm asking for one because I know I can do the job. I'm already doing the job in our community. And nothing matters more to me than educating our students, and all of them, not just special needs students, not just Black students, not just white students. All of our students need us. They all need us. And they're begging for us to do our job. And it's up to us to make the right decisions at the polls. And I'm asking for one of your votes for the at-large seat for Richland 1.
All right. Raquel's information is on the screen, her website and her email address. If you want more information, go to Raquel4, the number 4, Richland1.com, or email her at info@Raquel4Richland1.com, and get all the information that you need to vote responsibly. As Raquel said, there are 2 seats that are 2 at-large seats that are open. So please utilize your votes. Yes, it is a big presidential election. Yes, it's a big Senate election. But as we hear all the time, these school board elections, these local elections are far more important, because they impact us right here in our community. So please go out and vote. And of course, early voting is available. You can vote at several satellite locations, and please go ahead and do it. Raquel, thank you so much for joining us today on Coping with COVID. We appreciate you so much. And about that free thing, how long is that going on?
Well, right now we're doing the first 20 individuals that come in with their I voted sticker. They get a free meal. We might have another sponsor as well.
Okay. All right. Yes, you will. All right. Thank you, Raquel Richardson Thomas. Thank you so much again for joining us on Coping with COVID. We appreciate you. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, Trey.
Absolutely. You do the same. All right. Again, please utilize your right to vote. We are focusing on election 2020 here on Coping with COVID, and we will continue to spotlight candidates and issues and information to keep you updated and informed. Listen, if you have a story that could help someone cope with COVID, please go to my Facebook page, Tailor Made Productions, and inbox me. We would love to feature you on Coping with COVID. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwithtretailer@gmail.com and let us know how you could be a part of Coping with COVID, just like Palmetto Media Connections, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, SCDHEC, In It Together, and also Agape Counseling and Training Center. Tomorrow, Faith Friday with Bishop Eric Freeman with the Meeting Place Church. And then Saturday, Politics, Pump, and Power, Women Supporting Women. That is a live event. We'll be there broadcasting live. And I'm so honored to be part of that panel moderating the politics. Carlos Promise says, awesome interview. Thank you so much, Carlos, for your support of Coping with COVID. As usual, we leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling. Today is October 22nd. And Jesus says this: no matter what your circumstances may be, you can find joy in my presence. On some days, joy is generously thrown upon your life path, glistening in the sunlight. On days like that, being content is as simply as breathing your next breath or taking the next step. Other days are overcast and gloomy. You feel the strain of the journey, which seems endless. Dull gray rocks greet your gaze and cause your feet to ache. Yet joy is still attainable. Search for it as your hidden treasure. Jesus says, begin by remembering that I have created this day. It's not by chance or occurrence. Recall that I am present with you, whether you sense my presence or not. Then start talking to me about whatever's on your mind. Rejoice in the fact that I understand you perfectly and I know exactly what you're experiencing. As you continue communicating with me, your mood will gradually lighten. Awareness of my marvelous companionship can infuse joy into the grayest day. That's your Jesus Calling for today, October 22nd. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Coping with COVID. Until the next time, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. I pray that you are safe and careful, and please wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. See you tomorrow.
Coping with COVID is brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdhec.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. Also, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Center. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their life. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Center at agapects.com. And Columbia Housing Authority. The agency is looking for stories from former residents of Allen Benedict Court to retain some of the property's rich history. In its 80-year life, Allen Benedict Court has been home to some of the country's elite, including a Grammy Award-winning performer, corporate executives, national television celebrities, a host of doctors, lawyers, and NBA greats. So share your pictures, mementos, and memories at chcares@chasc.org. Coping with COVID, brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Columbia Housing Authority, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connection.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.